Hey guys, what's going on? This is a little bit of a different video today. If you are new here, because this is my first Zelda related video, my name is Ice. Welcome on in. I know I'm a little small right now, but that will make sense in a second. Today's video is going to be a tiny tad bit different. And normally I do Pokemon content, but the Tears of the Kingdom hype is deep within me, and I've heard the cries of people with all these different theories, all these different yada yadas. I want to do a deep dive. I did this on a stream a few days ago, but this is going to be a lot more in depth. Going into everything we've seen so far and theories and things like that. We're going to get into this right now. This is going to be kind of like presentation style. So let me know if you like this video style too, because I will definitely do more things like this if people are interested. But without any further ado, let's get right into it. So the only place I feel is really right to start is with the cave paintings. These are one of the first things that like really sparked a lot of discussion in the community via the first trailer. So we'll kind of get into my theory with these cave paintings a little bit later, which I know is weird, but just remember them. Remember mainly these two figures that we see here, and fuck, I did this the totally wrong way. Here and here. Remember these two figures. All right? That's all I'm going to ask. We'll come back to it. And especially remember that picture up there, that one, the one of this figure above her. Yeah, that one. Remember that one. That's going to be probably the most important one, if I'm being honest with you. So now this is where I start to go into some theories here, right? Goddess Hylia. Basic background information on the world is confirmed to be in this Breath of the Wild universe, which Tears of the Kingdom is following Breath of the Wild. So, why do I say that? Very simply, look at the statue here and look at the statue above. They are the same statue, same timeline. The one above is from Skyward Sword. The one below is from Breath of the Wild. We also literally have, in the first memory, it hard confirmed that Hylia exists, saying the blessings of the goddess Hylia. Literally, it is confirmed. 100% hard confirmed that this does take place in the same timeline as every other Zelda game with the goddess Hylia. Now, since I mentioned timeline, I feel like it's only fitting that I go into the Zelda timeline because it's a little confusing. The starting point of all Zelda timelines is Skyward Sword. That is where everything begins. If you have not played Skyward Sword, little synopsis for you. It's pretty much the original story of Link and Zelda versus Demise, who was the main antagonist, who was this cursed being, this fallen god, if you will. And the story, spoilers for Skyward Sword, ends with that version of Zelda merging with the goddess Hylia, becoming the goddess Hylia, if you will, incarnate. Ocarina of Time is where the timeline splits. Now, if you didn't know, in Ocarina of Time, you can lose, and that sets off the hero is defeated timeline, and that is the one on the far left. And that has Link to the Past, all of the really, like, the original games, Adventure of Link, just the original Legend of Zelda game, Link's Awakening, are all come after Ocarina of Time, and come after Ocarina of Time where the hero is defeated and Ganon wins, which is amazing. If Ganon is not sealed, that's where you get Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Four Swords. That's that timeline. Those are all in the same timeline, hard confirmed. If Ganon is sealed, That's where we get fun games like Wind Waker and things like that. Fan favorite games. But I think Phantom Hourglass is also... Yeah, Phantom Hourglass is also in that timeline. So, the question that has plagued everybody is, where does Breath of the Wild fall? Where? Obviously, we know it falls after one of these timelines. Theories have come out of it being a merged timeline, where the timelines reconvene somehow, and that's Breath of the Wild. There have been so many different theories. Let me tell you mine. My theory is that it takes place during the Ganon not sealed timeline. And why is that, I hear you ask? Pay attention to this quote by Daruk right now. Whether skyward bound, adrift in time, or steeped in the glowing embers of twilight. Specifically, or actually this isn't by Daruk, it's by Zelda in the same memory 1, but Daruk's just on the screen. I want you to specifically glowing embers of twilight. Meaning, ladies and gentlemen, that rather, number 1, that's an Easter egg, which I doubt, because Zelda timeline is very solid, and I feel like they would not just randomly throw something in that would break the timeline like that. So, what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that Twilight Princess is hard canon in Breath of the Wild. 100% hard canon. It's the only one out of all of these, because Ocarina of Time is the time quote, obviously. Skyward Bound is Skyward Sword, obviously. Twilight Princess is the only one of those 3 games referenced that takes place before the time split. Or after the time split, excuse me. So, that hard confirms what timeline Breath of the Wild's in. You said, let's kind of pivot here a little bit to some information we get in the trailers. Now, what I want to look at first is the saga that is Link's right arm. We see this everywhere. It's made very obvious. I don't even think it could be considered a spoiler at this point because it's in every single trailer. His arm very clearly gets corrupted by some form of something. Could it be the Calamity? Could it be a curse? It could be a ton of things. I think it's a curse. We'll get on to that though. But we do know where it's coming from, and I'll get to that in a second. But clearly you can see in this one right here, it looks like classic Edward Elric, like singed arm up to this point where something's infected it, you know? And then we see the arm here with this clearly takes place after whatever this time skip is up here. And the reason I say it's a time skip is because number 1, look at the hair, and number 2, look at the fingernails. Where Link gets some sort of tech arm. And then that would make a whole lot of sense because we have this picture. In this picture is the foundation. This is the connecting piece, the glue, if you will, of my 2 theories. Why we're talking about the arm and why we've talked about Princess Hylia, or Goddess Hylia, excuse me. It's this picture right here. This is it. This is the creme de la creme, the coup de grace, the glue, whatever you want to call it. We have clearly Link's arm here. Clearly Link's arm. We just, that was proved. This is Link's corrupted right arm. But who is he reaching out for? Now, clearly, it's some being of a higher power with the glow, with all of that. But now, let's get a better look at this figure, shall we? And I hear you saying, how are we going to get a better view of this figure? Well, with this picture right here, now it's very clear to see they have the same bracelet on as the previous figure. Now, to me, this is where I kind of diverge from hard fact a little bit and go into speculation. A lot of people say this is Zelda, this has to be Zelda. I don't think it is. I really don't. At least not the one we know. I don't think it's a Zelda we know. I genuinely believe that this is Princess Hylia. The glow, the figure, the stature does not look like the Zelda we know. Again, this kind of gets into speculation a little bit. But it looks more like an adult character. We're also getting, this is going into a little bit of film. We're getting a angled up shot at this character, rather meaning Link's on the ground, or that this character is extremely tall. I think the former is probably the case. Now, why would Link be on the ground? Possibly to bow to a goddess, because we are at that bowing height. Rise from your bow, perhaps. That could be it. We've seen Link bow to Zelda before, though, too. So, not the hardest confirmed fact there either. But let's go a little further. That's kind of all the speculation there. Let's go on to this slide. Now, this is just a little bit more of hard confirming the connection between Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword. You'll find out in a minute why I'm drawing all these connections to Skyward Sword. Whether Skyward Bound, we already went over that one. Legend says an ancient voice resonates inside of it. That's Zelda in Memory 4, I believe, referring to the sword on Link's back. Now, that sword from Skyward Sword, we know, is the Master Sword, which resonates who? It's Fi. Fi is inside that sword. We know that Fi is the Master Sword, is the voice of the sword. We know this from Skyward Sword. Another connection. Now, this is a fun one that I haven't seen anybody mention, and I'm honestly really surprised that nobody's mentioned it. And it is literally in the new trailer. Over here, this is a enemy from Skyward Sword called the Staldra, and it is the only Hydra-esque character in all of Legend of Zelda. Now, I don't know about you, but that looks like a massive Staldra to me. I know it's small, but it clearly has 3 heads. It clearly has 3 long necks and a dragon body. What else has that? It's the fucking Staldra. And who created the Staldra? We'll get into that a little bit later. Now, into the meat and potatoes. Into my big theory for this game is who's the villain? Who is the villain? This is all we really have on who the villain could be. So up here we see this is how Link gets his corruption, is that beam shoots and hits his arm, and that's how he gets the corruption that we saw earlier. But we see this skeleton action. Oh, I just hit the mic. I apologize. We've got the skeleton action going on over here. Now, why? Who is that skeleton? I think the answer is very easy. You see the red hair, you see the headpiece adornment, you see the gold adornments all over his body. Spoilers. I think it's extremely obvious who this skeleton is. And I, ladies and gentlemen, believe that it is this man over here. It's Ganondorf. Not Ganon. Not Ganon. Dorf. It's Ganondorf. Important clarification. Now, another important clarification. I don't think that Ganondorf is the main antagonist. I do not. Because something is clearly possessing his body. Here. This is not Ganondorf's will. Something is clearly possessing his body. Now, what could that possibly be? But the curse of Demise, who is, I never get this right, is over here. This is Demise. This one over here, that's Demise. Now, if you have not played Skyward Sword, the curse of Demise is what happens. He lays a curse on Link and Zelda at the end of the game that pretty much forces them to reincarnate. And I'll just, you know what? I'll give you the direct translation of the curse of Demise. Extraordinary. You stand as a paragon of your kind, human. You fight like no human or demon I have ever known. Though this is not the end. My hate never perishes. It is born anew in a cycle with no end. I will rise again. Those like you, those who share the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero, they are eternally bound to this curse. An incarnation of my hatred shall follow your kind, dooming them to wander this blood-soaked sea of darkness for all time. Now, that pretty much says it all. That's the start of every Zelda game ever, and it will continue to be the start of every Zelda game ever. Ganon, Ganondorf, Calamity Ganon, they are all reincarnations of Demise's hatred. But Demise says he will rise again. He's biding his time. These reincarnations of his hatred are biding Demise time to make his return. Now, Demise has the bloodshot red eyes, as we see. Ganon has normal eyes. But we go back to here. It's kind of hard to see. But in this picture here, bloodshot eyes. It's not Ganondorf. It's not. It is Demise. Demise is going to be the antagonist of this game. That is why I have drawn so many connections to Skyward Sword. It's because they want you to draw these connections. Because these two games, I believe, are the start and the end of the Zelda timeline. I think we are literally about to see, I think Tears of the Kingdom is end. I think we are going to beat Demise, beat him down for the final time, and end the Legend of Zelda timeline. End the reincarnation of the spirit of the hero. End the reincarnation of the blood of the goddess. It will all end with Tears of the Kingdom. Now, couple more things to prove why I believe this. Ganondorf and Calamity Ganon were always referred to as it. It. Literally, proof is right behind me. Should Ganon ever show itself again? Itself. Now, in the Tears of the Kingdom 2 trailer, Zelda literally says, but Link, I'm not sure you will be able to stop him. Not it, not the Calamity, him. Referring to a new antagonist, or an old returning antagonist, that is not the Calamity. The Calamity is not the antagonist of this game. Calamity Ganon is done. We will not see Calamity Ganon in this game. I genuinely believe that. Now, this is another really fun connection that I've seen nobody else make. Look at this picture. This is from the new trailer. I know it's really fuzzy. Blame Nintendo. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. One more time? You want to see it one more time? Look at this picture. And then look at this picture. Who's in the background of this one behind me? It's the imprisoned, who, if you don't know, is Demise. This is clearly a callback shot. 100%. There's no way you can't say that this is a callback shot. The entire start of Skyward Sword starts with this. Zelda falling. You're telling me it's coincidence that everything we've seen, every single trailer we've seen of Tears of the Kingdom has Zelda falling again? You're telling me that's coincidence? Absolutely not. Not to mention the fact that going back to that rune painting I told you earlier in the very first picture, the one I told you to remember, that looks a lot like Zelda falling, doesn't it? I think I've said all I need to say. We have the goddess Hylia over here depicted in cave painting form. We have Breath of the Wild Zelda, and we have Skyward Sword Zelda, who becomes Princess Hylia. I think very soon, all three of these characters will be the same character, and will end the eternal curse of demise. And that's it. That is my deep dive into all of the crazy bullshit that has been thrown at us and all of my crazy conspiracies that I've had for so long, and just as more and more things come out, they get more and more hard confirmed in my head. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you like this type of video, because I could do this for pretty much any game series ever. I have so many different theories for so many different game series, and I love going into all the lore and doing deep dive researches. So if you guys like this video, let me know by liking the video, by commenting, and by messaging me. Let me know that you like this so I can make more content like this, because I loved making it. It went a little longer than I thought. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to cut it down a little bit, but it went a little longer than I thought. So I really appreciate all of you guys sticking around and watching me kind of go deep into the conspiracy pyramid. But thank you guys all so much for watching this video. And until next time, guys, keep it cool.